Okay, let's go ahead and get started. It's been about a week, and just now got back into chance to do some more painting. So I warned you guys. Let's get this in a position that we can work with here. There we go. Let's try that right there. Yeah, it's been last Wednesday, I think, is the last time I painted. So we've got a couple of weekends here that are going to involve no painting coming up. That's this one coming up for sure. So I want to get some in here, but this is my Russians here, and that's what we're working on now is my early Russians. Still have what was it that we said? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 more figures to do, and this one's done. We left off putting the shield on this figure with little Big Man Studios decals, and not too happy with how that turned out. It's kind of I think a compatibility issue between the actual shield and the decal, because it's centered in the hole, but there's more of the rim showing on one end. So we're going to try to get in there and fix that up and see what we can do about that. So let's go ahead and get our did I put it in the wrong one? Okay, well, I guess we'll use this side. No wonder there isn't any liquid, because I normally put it in this other side. No, it doesn't really matter which one it is. All right, that's our airbrush thinner. And let's get our wet palette, whatever the hell it's gone to. Where did it go? There it is. It's out of sight in my mind. Okay. And let's see what we can do about fixing this. It looks like this decal is centered, and so I don't think replacing it with a different one is going to do any good. So we're just going to deal with it. If it bugs me too much, I don't think it will, but if it bugs me too much, then we can just replace the shield with an almond-shaped shield, and we won't have that issue with them. So let's see if we can get this in the correct place. Angle that a little bit more. All right, and of course we've got the computer over here to the side, so if you guys got any commentary, I can check it out over there. And yeah, let's get to it. Let's see if we can salvage this thing and make it better. Now, I'm going to do something that I don't normally do not have to do, and that is attach this guy to something so I can grab him. I could just glue him back on the horse, but it was just different. It was difficult to access that particular shield because it was so darn horse. So let's see, where are my corks with, let's see here. I have 3 or 4 of these corks with a screw on top, and they're perfect for that. So what happens when you clean up the area, you move things out of the way. Here it is, here's one. And let's see if we can avoid damaging maybe his feet. This is actually, I'm doing something that I never have to do because I pre-glue everything to the horse. All right. That'll work. All right, let's get this and a brush that we have confidence in and some black. Is this stuff still wet after a week being closed up? Oh, that's not the right one. We need to go thinner than that. We need to go Yep, that'll do it. Okay. But it got bigger. What the hell? All right. This one. Still no. Where's the super thin brush that I had for like faces and stuff? There we go. Jeez. All right. Come. Still alive. Now I want to make sure that this isn't too wet, or what's going to happen is this is right next to where the decal is. And capillary action. Oh, this guy's going to make me just glue him right back on the damn horse. Let's try that. Capillary action is going to pull that underneath the shield, so we got to be really careful that we don't get too carried away here. And like I said, if this looks like crap, if it gets really bad, I'm just going to hand paint the shield. End of story, right? Problem solved. And the funny thing is they make these little big man studios. They make decals based on these are decals for such and such a figures by this manufacturer. So they're custom made for these Mirliton Russians, and for whatever reason, they don't fit on this shield properly. Maybe the shield's off is just out of whack a little bit. I don't know. I have confidence that by the time I'm done with it, it'll have turned out okay. This isn't my first rodeo, and I'm sure we can. When I first did these spearmen, I painted these spearmen up using these shield patterns. I just did not like how they turned out. They looked all wrinkly. They looked wrinkly, and they looked glossy. And by the time you're done with the putting the flat coat on and everything, it straightened it all out. So I'm just going to power through this and just see how it turns out. So as always, you guys got any commentary or anything? Any questions you guys have? Any questions you may have had on the games that you've seen? You guys hopefully checked out the video that we did on Monday. Played 3 games that were pretty much nail biters. I thought they were nail biters. I thought they were really good games. So it's funny. The first game took almost an hour and a half to play. By the time I was done with the 3, we still averaged an hour a game. So that's even with doing the extra explaining that we normally do. Or try to do. I know some of you guys enjoy that extra explaining. I enjoy doing the extra explaining. It's not like I'm going to give away my battle plan or anything. You know, it's after you play somebody 800 and I think you're up to like 875 times. You know, yeah, not worried about that anymore. Yeah, this is starting to become hard to close now because the whole reason I transferred this stuff over was to to avoid a mess, and this has created a mess now because in thinning this paint, it's now makes it real easy to bubble out of this. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and grab a piece of paper towel. We don't need a very big one. And let's clean some of this crap up because it's even difficult to close the lid on this thing. Oh yeah. Okay, that's much better. This is a bunch of dried paint and stuff on there. I'm just gonna put this right in the garbage can. It's almost like cleaning out your ears that have never been cleaned before. Ugh. Want a good seal on here. Much better, right? Much better. Now we're gonna go ahead and use, well, I want to avoid getting all this all over me, then have to go to the, we're gonna clean this off. Well, that's interesting. That might be part of the problem when it's leaking out so badly. I just wiped this off, and you see there's like a side crack in the side of this. Huh. Wonder how the hell that happened. Okay. Now's not the time to do that. We're just going to go down a rabbit hole then. But that cleaned it up significantly better. Yeah. Okay. Good things. Uh, yeah, we won't have any painting on Saturday or Sunday for sure this week. So if that's what you live for, hopefully not. You have to find another purpose for your life. All right. Okay. Back to where we were. As you were. All right. Let's go ahead and put the rim on this in metal color. And this is unusual because I always glue the figures down to the horses and then paint around that way. Because I can pretty much reach anywhere I can see. The problem is with this decal, some of this rim was actually covered up. So I had to pop this thing off to be able to have access to everything because of the decal. Because I would rather be able to struggle with trying to get to all the pieces, but then know that I don't want to paint this guy perfectly, and then I end up putting epoxy down, and then somehow um, the epoxy is showing after I painted it. You know, I want to go ahead and epoxy this if there's any kind of over bunching up of it, I can just paint over it and it's not an issue, which is what I've done in the past. Whether or not you guys have actually noticed. Okay, and this guy's got like gloves or something. Let's see, are these guys happen to be metallic? Let's see. Maybe. This guy looks like he's got some kind of a knuckle guard in a metal or a leather. We're going to go metal with this one. This guy's got a face mask that's all metallic, but it has a face on it. Guy looks a little bit like Destro. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you're not a child of the 80s, then, are you? That reminds me, the last Historicon that we went to, 2019, there was a guy that actually put together a. I don't know who he is. I don't even know where these guys are from. I don't think their game was in the description, but they had a GI Joe game, and it was all done with a 3D printer. They had 3D printed all of the figures in 28 millimeter, and they had his tanks, and it was amazing. It was really, we would have had a blast playing that. Let's put it that way. It's just, with our Historicon schedule, it's like DVA after DVA all day long, so you don't have a chance really to do that other stuff. But we got a kick out of that. We were walking by and they had that game going on. There's half a dozen people playing it, and they put a lot of thought into it. They had the little unit cards, just like the figures used to have, and all that. I thought that was pretty cool. So that was neat. It's neat when you see something like that. The people put a lot of thought into getting the right atmosphere for the game. So this guy's got a little bit of chainmail down here. Pants. We need to do something a little bit different with the pants. Maybe even go white. I think we'll do that. We'll lighten these pants up with, we'll darken them with brown. Certainly there's got to be a brown that's half alive here. There we go. All right, there's that showing, and then there's some more of the pants down here. Or trousers, as you guys across the pond like to call them. It's not one of those words it's normally in my vocabulary. I know what it is. If I was reading a book out loud and it was in the book, I would say that, but it's not a word that I normally use in my vocabulary. Same thing with the meal that you eat at night, supper. I never use supper. So, All right, I'm afraid we cannot necromance our way out of that one. We're gonna have to get some new white on here. Those of you that are keeping school, geez, this is a mess. Look at this fiasco. I'm not gonna clean that up right now, or we'll end up being, let's watch Tony clean his nozzles instead of getting some painting done. So, okay. So after this guy's done, got 9 more to do. I can't wait to get these guys done for a couple reasons. There's a couple battles these guys are going to have to participate in that we'll do videos on. Against Mitch's Poles, he's got an early Polish army, and he's also got Teutonic Knights. Those guys for sure. That's definitely video stuff. And we'll definitely do a video where it's the battles of these early Russians. So it'll be those two, probably the Mongols. What else? Those three for sure. So we'll do a video with those guys on there. But the real reason I want to get done with these guys so I can go on to the next army. I haven't finalized what it is. Got some candidates, and I think they're all good candidates. I've narrowed it down to about 4 different armies. 4? Yeah, 4 different armies. So I'm not going to tell you what those are because I could still change my mind. But they, all of them would be unusual. Not stuff you see every day. So ones that we probably haven't morphed and played with either. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and should be fun. I took a look at something that I painted 10 years ago, which is not a long time for me. And back when I was painting with contacts in, so painting in 20 by 20/20 vision. And I don't think that my painting style really has gotten better, but I guess it has since I don't know. It didn't look very good. I mean, it looked better. The stuff that I do now looks better than that, but oh well, it's not like I'm going to repaint it or anything. You can be your own most critical person, you know. Other people may actually like what you do, but unless you're happy doing it yourself, you know what you've done, it's not good enough. So yeah, I took a look at what I was doing, and I'm like, man, I do better stuff now. I wasn't expecting that. So, oh well. Always try to improve what you did last time, you know? Okay. Speaking of necromancy, we're gonna have to paint the back of this shield as well. And the brown is just doesn't exist anymore. It has just gotten way too dried up. So let's put some more brown down here. We can play with that. Welcome if you're just joining us. Thanks for coming along. I'm gonna do a paint session here, and we're gonna definitely go for another hour. About 9:30 Eastern is about when we're gonna cut it off. So figured maybe, just maybe, I can get this guy completely done. That would be nice. Then we don't have to worry about this dude anymore. Carl M, welcome. What's your little logo there? Well, you got. Oh, you have your heraldry. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, I like that. I see it's a lot cooler than Mitch's. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be cooler than Mitch's. It is in those Packers colors, though. So, yeah, excellent. Mitch's has like a potted plant or whatever. Is my entire Russian army from Merlaton? It is, and I can't show you any of the finished stands because I don't know where the hell they are. They're packed along with somebody else. I don't remember who they're with, but I went for them the other day and I couldn't find them. That doesn't mean they're lost. I just, I've got 2/3 of my figures in the display case, and then the other ones are like in traveling from place to place, and I don't know where they are. I gotta find them. Otherwise, I'd have them here to show you guys. But yeah, they're Merlaton. That's these are really nice figures, and I didn't think they were very big, but when you put them next to some of these other ones, yeah, they're pretty big figures. But they paint up really nice. I've got them. Heck, I've probably had them 10 years. About the time they came out, I feel like that's about the time that they came out with them, and I have Merlaton figures of other manufacturers, but I haven't painted very many of them yet. So I've got some. I got some Germans. I've got some for the Italian Candata. I've got some of their knights. Those were going to be towards the top of the pack, but what happened is my buddy Joe decided to build that army. So it's not that I won't build it, but if someone I play with has just built an army, there's not a big incentive for me to build that same army because it's like it's why, there's only 500 armies that he doesn't have, so why don't I just pick one of the other ones? It's not like I've got my heart set on one of them in particular. So I haven't painted those yet, but I may be painting some more in the near future based on what my next project is. Depending, we will see. We're going to give this guy some leather gloves or whatever. But yeah, they're nice figures. I don't care if they're multi-part. I glue everything together and go from there. The only reason this is in 2 parts, if you didn't watch the video from the other night, it was because I couldn't put this decal where it needed to go. It was kind of in the way. It was hidden behind part of the horse. So even though I epoxy everything down, I popped this guy off and here we are. So it's not that big a deal. But why to get some of their minis? They look really good. Look forward to seeing the rest of your Russians when they're done. Yeah, they the 7 or 8 stands I have done of them, they look really good. They turned out really, really well. I was happy with them. I approve how they look. Um, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's very difficult being your own worst critic. So, oh well, I'm sure it's the same with just about everybody. you got to be happy with the results. So. Got to be happy with the results. But since then, they've come out with, what do they have now? They've got like Seljuk Turks or something like that. Of course, now they probably had them 10 years. I said, I've had these figures probably 10 years. They haven't had anything new in a while. Yeah. Moroton, they're Italian. The other Italian company is excellent. I don't have any of their stuff. Leggio Heroica. Leggio Heroica is just really, really nice stuff. And what's really nice about Leggio Heroica is whoever they had painting their figures online did a superb job with them. That guy really knows his stuff, so that's always good when they grab somebody to paint their minis, and they really know what they're doing. So hats off to the guy who painted the Leggio Heroica. So figures. No, they have kind of a limited range, but that's okay. The people that have expanded big time is Coruscant. At some point, I may actually paint some Coruscant figures, but they definitely have expanded what they had. They started off with only one. Well, they used to have the Coruscantian armies. That's why I'm not sure why they picked that name, but their first army happened to be from troops from Coruscant, and it's just blossomed after that. Now they've got, I don't know, 50 different lines or something like that. So the guy must be doing okay. That's good. All right, we got this guy's stirrups to do. Do you have any of this color left? We do. It's still alive after being sitting here for a week and closed. So the story of this army was I was going to paint it for an event. I believe it was a Russian themed thing that we had. He had a Russian thing coming up, and I just didn't get around to finishing them. I got the whole army done except for the knights. And I said, well, hell with it, I'm playing them anyways. So I substituted my Ostrogoth knights for the knights in this army. Played in several events. They won one of the events. I believe they went. I believe they're 5-0 or 5-2 or something like that. But and then I just kind of lost interest. I went off and I think I painted my Burgundians next instead of finishing this army, if memory serves me right. Yeah. See, now we're at the point where I've got to go ahead and glue this guy down because I'm covering up over things that I can't reach some of the stuff that's on here. So let's go ahead and wiggle this guy off and see if there's any of this showing. There we go. Yeah, you see, this is how he was glued on. And take a look at the shield where it meets the horse. I couldn't get the decal to go in there. So, anyhow. So let's glue this guy up. Let's not pull out the epoxy. Let's do something I never do. And let's get the super glue out. Nah, I shouldn't do that. I'm an idiot. Something bad's going to happen. Let's just get the super glue here. Get the epoxy out. And where is that needle? Where the hell did all my corks go? Well, let me give myself a time crunch to do this. I'm only putting one guy down, so I don't need a whole lot of this stuff. Don't mind me, I'm just over here talking to myself. Okay. Now, I can just use an old brush too that's not worth a damn to me anymore. All I gotta do is just find one of them. Here's one. All right, let's get this, move that way over there so there's no way we can have that epoxy just go every which way. I'm just gonna glue this guy's ass down right here. Give him a few minutes to. Yeah, they're nice figures. They are a little on the large side. I never really thought about it much. The horse is more than the figures. With that said, I have no problem mixing them in with other things, but yeah. What's in here? No, not that. I pulled some figures out the other day for my possible project coming up, and there's some Mirliton guys in there. And I'm not going to do a spoiler, but I did want to show you what some of their figures look like that are pretty darn big. And this isn't it either. Yeah, this is pretty frustrating considering I consider myself pretty organized. And then when it comes down to trying to find stuff to show you guys, it's nowhere to be found, you know? No, that's not them. That's not them. I don't think I put them away with everything else because I'm pretty certain this is going to be one of the two armies. Maybe just look at the top. Let's see. Nope. Nope. I don't know where the hell they are. Yeah, I didn't think I put them right back in the closet. Oh well. I couldn't resist putting some of my figures away in bags for the next potential project, but even though I haven't completely narrowed it down, there are some Mirliton guys in there. They're pretty big. They're pretty large guys. They've got the I forget what the helmet's called, but it's almost like a brimmed helmet that they used in the 1200s. Hey, there's a hint. One of the armies I could be doing is from the 1200s. So, yeah, I thought they were right here. No? No? Find them again. Where they're at. No. I suspect that finishing up these rushes is probably going to take up a month, probably. Easy at the rate that I'm going. Got a couple of weekends here where I'm not going to get any painting done. Just got to go out of town and stuff. So, anywho, it is what it is. So, yeah, here's the rest of the Russians. Yeah, I don't know where I put that bag. Damn it. Oh well. All right, this guy glued down enough? Yeah, all right, good. Right. We were doing the stirrups. So let's go ahead and get some of that color out. Do that. Yeah, sometimes I'll be like, man, I really want to look at painting the next army. So like I'll go and put the figures together for it or whatever. Like, oh, I wonder if I could make these guys. So I'll do that. I've done that with Anglo-Normans. I've done that with the Mamelukes. I've done that with the Zanj the other day, and I did that with one of the armies that I'm looking to possibly do next. Here's a hint: it's none of those armies I just mentioned. So I'm going to do a little test. I heard through the grapevine. I think they posted it on their Facebook page or something like that. But I caught wind that Kurasan is going to be doing Mamelukes soon. So I'm specifically not going to do Mamelukes until they come out with them, because notoriously, I think on three armies, as soon as I got done with them, they came out with figures for them. That happened with the Ottoman Turks. It happened with the French Ordonnance, and it happened with one other one. I forget which one it is. But those guys just came out with those figures just when I got done with the army. And it's not that I want an exclusive Coruscant army, but if it's an army that has individual looking people, whether it's feudal or irregular type of stuff, I want a variety of figures in my army. And I would have liked to put some of their figures in my army, but so I'm on to them now. So I'm not doing the Mamelukes until Kurosan comes out with Mamelukes, and that way they will be together. So nice figures, best figures for 15 millimeter Saxon. Not keen on Forged in Battle box sets, dull poses. Really? Wow! I see the Forged in Battle figures, and I'm salivating. But the problem is that Forged in Battle just showed up 10 years too late. I already have so much lead of all the stuff that they make that I just can't justify buying more just because I like their figures better. Does that make any sense? I'm trying to give myself some limits, because at what point do you say, yeah, I'm going to keep buying stuff? If there's something I need, like for instance, if I was going to paint ancient Spanish, okay, and I've thought about doing this, all I need to do is buy like 3 or 4 packs of their stuff. I mean, yeah, they're big packs, but it's enough to do it, and then done. Or Anglo Danes. Anglo Danes, you buy 1 pack of the blades, 1 pack of the Huskarls, you buy a pack of the lesser feared, and then another one. I think like 4 packs, and you could do that whole army. I guess it's expensive, but I spent a couple hundred hours painting an army, so I'm worth it. Too many figures in their boxes. So you don't like to spend extra money, or you don't like having any extra figures? Because I know a friend of mine was like anti having any extra figures. I want to pick who I paint. It's worth my time. I'm spending 4 hours a figure. I want to pick who's in my army. If I got leftover guys, I got leftover guys. But I want to choose from every pose they have and how many of each one. That's how I roll. I'm not saying money isn't an a reason, but my time is more important. Like I think the Forged in Battle figures are just absolutely gorgeous. But boring poses, that's Essex. I don't want to throw shade on Essex, but Essex figures don't excite me to paint another Essex army. They all look the same. And they don't necessarily look bad. My biggest problem with them would be that the alloy that they use is really still bendy. So you'll get spears, and once they bend, they're difficult to bend back. And like my Irish have a lot of Essex figures in there, but I think I love them so much because I used other figures in the mix as well. But they all kind of look the same. But the problem with Forged in Battle is that the shipping is just the shipping just got crazy. This unless Noble Knight in the States carries them, but they don't have everything by them. So I already have so much lead already that I don't need to buy a new army from them. And they don't make stuff for, book four stuff, which is what I really like book four. So, uh, yeah, $100 for a DBA army. Yeah, that's true. Um, so the first DBA army I ever built was my feudal Spanish. I bought every pack of Old Glory that they made, and this is when they were in the 50 figure packs. This is like 2004. I bought every pack of Normans that they made, and Spanish Normans, and all the minifigs figures, and what else? I think that was it. I ended up spending like $200 on just my feudal Spanish. But but I did sell some of those figures. I made at least one person said, "Hey, you mind putting a feudal Spanish army together for me?" Like, sure, I love doing that. That's my dream job, putting DBA armies together for people. It just doesn't pay the bills. But I love having extra figures. But yeah, it's a lot of. But still, I spent like $1 a figure by the time I'm done. Considering I spent about $1. No, I said that wrong. If I spent $200 on it, it took me over 200 hours to paint that army. So $1 an hour painting whatever figure I wanted. Yeah, it was worth it. I don't regret it. I don't regret it. But I had a friend of mine when he wouldn't build anything unless it was in army packs. And I'm like, before I even started doing DBA, I had a bad experience with Essex. I was buying a couple of Armati armies, and they gave me the wrong figures twice. And I'm like, I don't want that. They made the right figures. They just whatever numbskull was putting the army together just decided to give me the wrong figures for them, and it pissed me off. And I'm like, okay, I'll buy Essex, but I'm buying them by the pack, and I'll put them together how I feel like they should go. Because that's the fun part for me, anyways. I like to pick who's in my army and do the research, and because they made the right figures. They just gave me the wrong ones. I was building like a 15th century Spanish army, and they gave me freaking spearmen from like 900 AD. Like, not cool. Gladiator medievals, yeah, those are very nice. Those are a little on the small side, but I mix things up. Speaking of a little thing on the small side, a little bit on the small side, I've got those old figures by well, now they're called carried by alternative armies. I don't even remember what the heck they are. Before that, it was 15 millimeter CO UK. But what the hell is that army that I pulled off to the side? That's gonna drive me crazy. I know I didn't just throw them right in here with everything else. Better than do that. Is it these guys? I think so. Oh, this is not the ones. Oh well, I digress. Oh well, I guess I won't be able to show you guys those Milvertone figures. No. Oh well, I cleaned up my area too well. I have a feeling Tony knows more about a company's miniatures than some of their employees. Well, I do, except for I showed up and good evening, Rick. Um, I showed up on the scene kind of late. Like, I don't know anything about 15 millimeter ancients and medievals before 2004. I just wasn't involved in it. I just never did it. I never played it. an ancient medieval or game before that. So people tell me, oh, those are strip minifigs. I don't know what that is. Okay, I don't know what those guys look like. But even older figures like mid 80s, late 80s stuff is, ancient compared to when I arrived on the scene. But yeah, I surfed a lot of figures because that's one of my favorite things, is to look for, what could I make them up, and I like mixing and matching even on the same stand. But yeah, there's some people that that work at some of these places that it's just a job for them. So yeah, like there's probably some people that work at your place, Rick, that don't even use PayPal or don't know how. A horde theme, yes, that one's coming. The only reason that one didn't come is because we didn't have the right number of people. We didn't want to run the horde theme without Joe, so we're saving for Joe to come back to do the horde theme. But yes, that's horde theme with a minimum of 2 horde. Yep, that's coming. So yeah, the problem is, and I've mentioned this before, is we don't know who's going to show up. I know I'm going to be there, or there won't be a video. If Mitch isn't there, then we won't play there. Not that I've done games not at his place, but if we do a game at my place, it won't be in the middle of the week. Let's put it that way. It'll be, when people are normally off, not on a Monday night. So, but but he's basically there every time. He has a pretty consistent schedule. But the other folks, we don't find out if some of them, if they're coming until that afternoon. So it's very difficult to plan in advance what you're going to do until basically the day of. So a lot depends on who's going to show up. So yeah, unfortunately, I got to do all kinds of planning at work, but I game with people that can't plan their way out of a paper bag. Such is life. Yeah, hordes are cool. Hordes are neat. Hopefully, you saw the games we played the other day. There were some. They were pretty darn good as far as I'm concerned. But like for instance, Scott was there. I didn't know he was going to be there until I pulled up and his car's there, and I'm like, well, that's going to really throw a damper on what we were planning on doing. So I told him, I showed up. It's like, hey, I didn't know you were going to be here. You want to do something else? No, no, I'm just going to watch. I'm like, dude, you can play. I just, that's why I don't announce what we're going to do, because if you announce what you're going to do and things out of my control change, then everybody be like, why are you doing this? I don't know. I don't have to explain myself to you, dude. Shit happens. I could plan. The people I'm with can't, you know. But hey, at least we get the game. So yeah, I had no idea he was going to be there until he was there, and then I'm like, well, let's just do something else then. We were planning on doing this missed matchups all the time, and it was just going to be me and him. So there's probably more of those to do. Like we've run an event, and you let the people that are traveling from out of town definitely play, and then if Mitch or I don't play each other, it's not a big deal. We play each other all the time, but that's matchups we can do. So Aztec hordes or war bands, the yeah, if you're in the UK and you don't like Forged in Battle. Want to trade? You come live over here, and now you guys. You guys have everything shut down still, I think. That's not a good fit for me. I don't do well in that environment. I'm good here. Thank you. The I've mentioned this before. The whole Brexit thing. I understand why there's some funny business going on, but I understand why it would be more expensive for you guys to get stuff from other places in Europe, okay? Because you're gonna have to pay that extra thing in there. But I don't understand why the shipping costs so much between the US and the UK because nothing changed. Unless it's one of those that because everything got they got a chance to look it over and they realized that they weren't charging or they weren't taxing you guys enough stuff on the stuff from the US, and that's why it went up. I don't know because like to give you an example, okay, pre-Brexit it cost, and I've ordered a lot of stuff from the UK throughout the years. Most of my minis are from the UK, which is why I call it the land of toys, because it freaking is. And if you consider these toys, it's the land of toys. And shipping from the UK to the US was almost the same as US to US, and it was quicker UK to US by probably 2 or 3 days generally, unless it was from Brookhurst Hobbies. We used to make a joke in the 90s. Brookhurst Hobbies would send it to you before you ordered it. They were out in California. They used to be the purveyor and distributor of many, many figure lines. And since then, they still carry a lot of stuff, but they don't carry a lot of stuff that I'm into. So it doesn't really work that way. But yeah, historically, the UK was almost the same shipping as the US, and all of a sudden, it just took a huge leap. And and then during the same time, like if you ordered something like from Italy, it was just cost prohibitive before. So I don't understand if the UK was in the European Union and Italy was in the European Union, why the shipping back then was so dramatically different. It was almost like, well, it's going to cost a lot of money unless it comes from the UK because they have favored nation status with the US, and the shipping isn't expensive. But it doesn't make any sense to me unless it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, we have to reevaluate everything. We have to reevaluate everything. And oh, well, we were never marking this stuff up to begin with. So they kind of got a chance to look over it. Yeah, they're talking about third wave. You shouldn't be paying that anymore. Yeah, it was an opportunity for everyone to increase prices. Scam. Yeah, it's a shame. I've said this before. There's probably somebody out in the UK that is like dying to do 1/2400 scale stuff from GHQ. And it just kills them, and the rest of us just want stuff from Zyston and everybody else in the UK. But oh well. The important thing is don't go buying stuff and don't do anything with it, okay? Because then it's really a waste of money. You know, you guys have bought enough stuff that you don't use, so put kind of a leash on yourselves and control yourselves a little bit. I'm trying to. I'm not opposed to buying more things to complete something, but I just don't want to be like, oh, they just came out with these cool figures. Let me go. No, no, I'm not going to do that. So the next army that I'm going to do, if I have to buy anything, I'm going to wait until I'm damn near done with the army to get those other things, so that I reach the point of no return where it's like, well, I can't back out of finishing them now because they're damn near done. So got to keep yourself on a short leash. Be interesting to see what if there was a way to tell how the hobby was doing, because the hobby was kind of, I don't know, at least from my vantage point, didn't seem like it was doing great before this, and all of a sudden everybody stays at home and they're out of things. So yeah, that's good. Maybe there's some positive out of the whole thing. So I haven't gotten to stay at home at all. So so jealous. I like my home. Why wouldn't I want to be here? Although I don't really have a bad commute, but I'd like to wear whatever the hell I want when I go to work. Right? Meaning, I'd like to wear shorts. But I'm not gonna complain too much. So let's lighten up this horsehair on here. But yeah, Merloton is. I can't order directly from Merloton. So my Russian army, this one that I'm doing, was a DBA 2.2 army, but so it's missing some elements from 3.0. So I had to order some extra bowmen. I believe that's what it was from Merloton, and this is well before COVID, and it was cost prohibitive. So I had to go to an eBay trader in Italy and buy them from because the shipping was only like $8 or something like that, as opposed to, you know, a minimum of such and such and 20% of your order. I went to somebody recently and their shipping was just like, well, I just can't order from you anymore. It was either Museum or Outpost War Game Services, but it was I want to say it was one of those two. That it was just like, I guess I just can't order your stuff anymore unless I put in a big order in, and I'm never going to order a big order of figures anymore because it's going to, if I order any figures, it's going to be to finish off something that I have. Like, okay, I would like to have that leader in this army, or or something like that. Not just buy a whole army from scratch. So yeah, I guess I don't. I think it was one of those two companies, and I'm sure they had their reasons why. Hopefully, it wasn't Museum. Museum were like the quickest people to order things from. I swear you'd get it in like 5 days. So that guy was on the ball. So I got nothing bad to say about Dave. Don't know what his last name, but Dave is the owner. He's uber quick. So yeah, I got better service from people in the UK than people in this country. I guess people in this country are lazy or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what their damn excuse was, but they were in no hurry to ship things out. Yeah, and the time works against us because we're -5 Greenwich, right? I forget if we're always -5 Greenwich, and then if it's daylight savings time, it's -6 or -4. I forget which one it is. So yeah, their sizing is weird. Their sizing is weird, and it doesn't make any sense because it's the same sculptor. Yeah, but I kind of know that going in. It's okay. I don't mind mixing them on. You know, yeah, their sizing is weird. They got some stuff that's really small. They got some stuff that's gargantuan. I got Chinese hordes I can't use. I picked up a pack of their Asian hordes. Um, probably 10 years ago, and they're damn near 20 millimeter size. So if anybody would be small, it would be people from the Far East. And now you've got these guys are gargantuans. Gargantuan guy that he worked his way into my Irish army, but because of the way that he's and people are different sizes, but that was everybody in the Asian horde stand would have been a giant guy. It's like they were the guys that ate all the dumplings. They didn't leave anybody for the soldiers. They got their growth stunted, but so that didn't really work. Now I don't remember what horse color I used for this because it looks like some of this color got chipped a little bit, but I'm a hell of a good guesser. Well, that's not supposed to happen. I'm a hell of a good guesser. That was loud, I'm sure, because the phone picks up every single high-pitched type sound. Yeah, that's probably it. It's going to be close enough. Oh yeah, the Zeiston figures are big to begin with, and the Romans are the biggest. Makes no sense. I mean, you should at least make the Gauls big, you know? The Gauls, the Germans. That doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. So, good morning from Sydney. Oh, excellent. It's Tomorrowland, the land of Oz, where it's almost always tomorrow. So, how's the weather look like out tomorrow? Yeah. So, I don't have a problem mixing different manufacturers on the same stand because if I could deal with that, but those Romans are gargantuan, just gargantuan figures, you know? You've been looking into other rules for bigger or more detailed battles just to mix things up. Okay, John, have a good evening and thanks for coming by. John Carter from the UK, not Mars. So I almost started watching that movie and then I got sidetracked. I've heard some people say it's not very good. That's actually advantageous when you find out something's not very good. Perfect. Set your sights low. You don't think it'll be very good, and then it'll be like, hey, it's not bad after all. To the strongest, looking like a good candidate will kick DVA basing. So I looked at to the strongest. Do I have it? No, I don't have it. It's impetus I have. I just I have little to no desire to learn another rule set. I don't mind playing other rules. I just don't want to be. I've said this before. I don't want to be the point guy in another rule set. These rules have just burnt me out. You know, I like the rules as an avenue to be able to play other periods and paint figures. But yeah, I don't want to be the point guy anymore. If I'm going to go through that much effort, I'm just going to write my own rules, and that's not my interest in this hobby. My interest is painting and gaming and doing funny voices and I guess making videos too. So um, yeah. Somebody said to this. So to the strongest, you got to play that on a grid, right? Well, I'm already playing Field of Glory online. That's kind of on a grid. Um, it's all right. It's something to do. Um, to the strongest has that push your luck mechanics, I think. So that's kind of cool. I like that. Um, yeah, I've looked at it. I watched a couple of his videos that the author did on YouTube. It's interesting, but you got to kind of play what your people in your group want to play. So, That one uses playing cards, I think, but you can play it with dice. I mean, I gotta have my dice, man. I love dice. Love it. Um, we have a local game group of people that I don't really game with them anymore because they game on Fridays, and they play not non-conflict games. And I don't mean, conflict like arguing with people. I just mean military simulations or military themed things. That's what I want to do. I want to take over the world. I want to enslave people. I want to, do battle. The stuff I don't get to do on a daily basis. I'm a devout pacifist every day. So, when I'm playing a game, yeah, I want to role play a little bit, So, um, don't know anyone in Western Sydney who plays DBA. Well, Australia is a small country, right? I mean, you guys, there's lots of Australian play. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm being extremely facetious. Your country's massive. So, yeah, there's a lot of DBA players in Australia. You got to play what people have in your area. If you've got local players and they play to the strongest, you definitely should give that a try because there's your opportunity to play something and you don't have to learn how to play the game. You don't have to look rules up. You can just say, "Hey, can I do this?" So yeah, if we had that, I would have already done that already. You know, checked it out. Yeah, don't change your basing. Definitely. Um, this game could be better. This game could definitely be better. We waste too much time trying to do conforming and the geometry and the combat. It should be the geometry should be easier, should be more natural, and the combat could be more detailed. Doesn't have to be tremendously more detailed, but it could be more flavor in it. Um, but if I wrote rules, that's how they would be. The conforming would be a hell of a. Well, there wouldn't be any conforming. You would just fight at whatever angle you did it, and we'd play test it enough. We'd be able to figure that. I just don't have. I'm just the older I get, and I'm not that old, or I'm not as old as I don't feel as old as I am, but it's just like it's just not worth it anymore. You know, I got nothing to prove. You know, I like the amount of units that are in DBA. It's a small amount, but I'd be fine if it was variable armies that are 10 to 15 figures, to 10 to 15 stands on the side. So Euro games where you grow wheat bore me. Best place for violence is battle mat. Yeah. Yep, the figure count to actually finish things. That's right. That's there's a couple of things that once I once I found DBA and played it that really are kind of the core of what I particularly enjoy. One of them is the pip mechanism. I like not being able to do whatever the hell you want every time. The other thing I like is the fact that a relatively small amount of your forces are eliminated before the game's over. It's not like you're fighting the last man, and that's kind of unusual for me in other games. Um, so that speeds it up just because you don't have to kill every single living thing um, on the board to be able to finish the game. So indirectly, that is a speeder upper. Um, what else? Where's my hoof color? Here we go. Um, yeah, the size of the board. You don't have to reach over anything. And it's not that I'm out of shape, but it should be completely comfortable. And we've all played games where it's a huge board, and you always end up fighting in the middle, and you know, it's just damn uncomfortable. I get paid for being uncomfortable, so I'm not being paid while I'm playing DVA. So I don't really want to partake in that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, the pip previous to DBA, every game I had played had some kind of fog of war in it. All games have some kind of fog of war, unless you're playing chess or something like that. But um, so there's previous to DBA, every Fog of War game I had basically was resolved by handicapping your opponent physically so that they had a limited amount of information to be able to make a decision. So either make the guy leave the room, or hidden setup, or a moderator that doesn't give all the details to the people in between and stuff like that. And DBA does the opposite. Everybody knows exactly what's going on, but your knuckleheads down there sometimes don't listen to you. So it's almost like you're playing as a god, and your troops have their own little commanders, and they don't listen to you. And I think that system works a lot better because you can every both people are experiencing the ups and downs and sufferings and tribulations that the person's going through. It's not like, well, I just whooped your ass because you're an idiot or you didn't know anything. I'm like, no, listen, you can see what the problem is. I rolled bad pips and I couldn't move all my guys, and I wanted to move everybody, but I couldn't. They just don't listen to me. And the same thing goes both ways. It happens to the other guy too. So I think that system is a lot better than a game, which use an extreme example, diplomacy. Diplomacy, I'll never play a game of diplomacy, not because it creates arguments or what they say you lose friendships, because somebody's going to get backstabbed. But it's too much. Okay, you got 30 minutes to discuss this and like leave the room. No, I just that's just not my idea of a good time. So, um, big respect to those guys doing Big Battles 28, but I like setting limits. The pip thing and the objectives lend themselves well, if not just being attritional. Yeah, I mean, there's other casualties going in there. I mean, I like the things that the pip mechanism. The other thing is, along with not being able to do everything you want, also has the added bonus of there's many ways to skin a cat, which I really need to look up where that saying got started. It really sounds like something that would have been started in Chinatown. But anyhow, I'm not sure where that saying came from, but you guys know what I mean. It's not like I'll use an extreme example. I don't know if I brought this up in a video or not, but one of the first miniatures game that I ever played was a World War II set called Command Decision. Okay, it's World War II. Um, Operational scale, you got one vehicle represents a platoon, so it's a 1 to 5 scale. Um, and in that game, you have to give your units orders, and the orders are basically don't move, and in which case they would do opportunity fire, which of course slows any game down. Opportunity fire is just horrible for trying to complete a game. Or move at full speed, which means you only get to fire in the last fire phase and only if you're really close to the enemy. Or move at half speed and you get to move fire in the middle fire phase. So every game basically revolved around either everybody just on opportunity fire or half moves. You had very limited amount of choices that were worthwhile to make. And I don't think that made a good game. Because of that, you didn't have meaningful decisions to make from bound to bound, or from turn to turn. And I think that's one of the strong suits of a game like DBA is that you almost always have, well, not always, you have meaningful decisions to make every single turn. And sometimes like all I need is 2 pips and you get one. So then you have to do what I like to call the choice from hell. You've got to see which bad decision you want to do. But yeah, that's what keeps you interested. And also the fact that every time you roll a die, it is your opponent rolls a die as well, and you compare numbers. So that is both people involved in the game. And it could have more detail. I certainly wished it had more detail. But okay, so we're done with the hooves. We need to, let's do a little bit of a different color on the muzzle. Oh, and pre-measuring. Man, that is huge. That saves so many arguments. I just don't want to play a game where you don't pre-measure anymore. That is that brings the game to a different level. And I mean that in a good way. So, man, you guys all left. Jeez. Okay, well, I'll just sit here talking to myself. I got another 5 minutes or so, and then I got to sign off. So it looks like we achieved our goal mostly of getting this guy done. I think I still have a gloved hand or something like that to do back in here behind the shield. We'll have to leave that for another day. But this guy's mostly done. We'll see how this shield turns out. I'm sure it'll be fine. And the only reason I say that is because I did some shields on my spearmen that I was not happy with. I just powered through and just said, well, let's just see what they look like. And they turned out where I was really happy with them. But I'm not sure where I'm not sure where those figures are, and I don't mean they're lost. They're mixed in with something else. They're not a complete army, so I don't remember who the hell I brought them with. They probably with my Ostrogoths, but I think my Ostrogoths are put away. Anyways, they look beautiful. I'll have to put a picture of. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and post a picture there, community thing of my finished Russians, and it's my Russians except the knights. So except the really cool ones because these guys will look nice when they're done. But you've been relearning the hobby after years away. Oh, the Zen can never call that Zenithal. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I talked myself out of getting an airbrush. I don't think I'm going to. I don't want to spend the time cleaning it. That's just time I could be painting. So I bought a really cheap airbrush, and I understand this was a cheap airbrush, and I've used a good one. Oh shit, it's probably been 30 years. Oh, you like the Russian armor? Yeah, none of that's done with a whatchamacallit. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. My figures look better than my armor does because there's people out there that make armor that looks better than the real tank. Um, well, this isn't completely sealed and everything, but we're getting there. But it's got some weathering on there, and but there's some people that do. Like I'm not doing chipping. It just you do chipping and then you add the dust and stuff, and the miniature looks too realistic compared to the figure. The figures. The figures end up looking, they're comic book in a way, you know. And I don't mean that. At least that's my style, and it almost like a graphic novel. And I like that type of style, but they're not ultra realistic looking figures. Just disregard this basing that looks childish because it was. Hey, it was the '90s. The so I don't want an uber realistic looking tank with figures that look like this because I just don't think sketch style. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I like how it looks. That's how all of my stuff looks, and I'm happy with it. I don't like this basing. I'm going to be redoing the basing, but I won't be playing World War II anytime soon. That's a game you just can't finish. I am beyond anal retentive when it comes to playing World War II. So um, I defend your right to green sandy bases. Yeah, yeah. So we didn't know any better. This was before the internet, so you couldn't share ideas with other people. So. Or at least I wasn't involved in the internet. I wasn't involved in the internet until 1999. So those guys were painted before then, but still use the same painting method that I use now. So they're similar, but yeah. And I gotta finish this JS2. I just haven't gotten around to finishing him. I gotta make the numbers bigger I mean, I like the style the numbers are, and you know, it'll get done eventually. I got to put the rear machine gun in here, that kind of stuff. So, and then dry brush on top. It'll be okay. But I just figured, let me do something different to switch it up. And oh well, there's not time to do everything. But anyhow, well, that's it for tonight. We got this guy mostly finished, damn near, except one gloved hand, pretty much. So that's what we will pick up next time. But thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. And what is it? Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? I may get a chance to do some Friday, but yeah. Thanks for the entertainment. Well, thank you guys to keep me entertained. You know, throwing questions and stuff at me. I appreciate it. It keeps me from surfing and knowing even more about figures more than the people that work at the company that produces them. Anyhow, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you guys in a few days. Bye bye.